in contact with here in the Marlborough Community Center here has been very, very supportive, very worthwhile, very helpful, and very caring. It means a lot.
It does mean a lot. Carol, would you mind sharing your experience?
Yeah, I was initially misdiagnosed.
Oh.
They told me I had essential tremors, and they put me on medication, and things weren't getting better. They weren't getting better, so I went to a neurologist. Thank you. A neurologist, and the minute he looked at me, he said, "You have Parkinson's. You've never had anything else but Parkinson's." So that was kind of a shock. Although my husband and I, we go for walks, and he says, "Something's not right. You're not walking right. There's something wrong." And we finally got a diagnosis, and here I am. I've had it for 20 years.
So how long did it take you to get that diagnosis correct, from when you first noticed things until you finally had that correct diagnosis?
Probably about 10 years.
10 years. Rosemary, I'm wondering if that's something common, misdiagnosis, and if in a broader sense, people with this disease go undiagnosed.
Yeah, so, I'm an information referral coordinator, so I cannot speak as a medical
professional person in the room more so than I am, and it's the blazer. That's what does it.
It's a superpower.
Yeah.
But I am on the information and referral line a lot, and so we receive a lot of calls from the general population that's talking about Parkinson's. Oh, I've just been diagnosed, but we hear a lot that people feel like they've had symptoms for a while before they're diagnosed, or that they were diagnosed with something else and then later find out that it's Parkinson's. Some of that is because Parkinson's is a clinical diagnosis, so sometimes it takes a little while for some things to manifest. But also, we always recommend people see a specialist, like a movement disorder specialist, which is a special kind of neurologist, to clarify that diagnosis. And in Massachusetts, we're very fortunate that there are quite a number of specialists.
Yeah. I wonder if we could maybe almost role play for a minute and say this is a group meeting at your facility, Jim, one that you're putting together. What's the sort of flow of things? Is there a meet and greet section at the beginning? Is there a speaker? Is it very casual? How does it go?
In all candor, it's more casual than anything else, but we do a great deal of interchange of information back and forth between us. Some of our women that have come to the class have been a little reluctant with males in the room. I can't explain that, but that's an issue. And we cover a wide cross section of the community, so we have to be receptive to adapting to their needs rather than what we think are the needs. In Westboro, we've got a gentleman who's from India, and at times it's difficult to understand what he's saying, but he eventually gets the message out, and we greatly appreciate his contributions. To me, I'm just a bump on the log trying to help the thing go down the path.
You said how even within the group you're trying to be adaptive to other people's needs.
Yes.
How can the community overall, Marlborough or Massachusetts or the world, be more adaptive to those with Parkinson's? I know that's a big, broad question, but does ADA comply?
But that's how I know Jim.
And a good relationship it has become. Yes. It's funny, like she said, when she showed up to our meeting this spring, or last fall, I says, "I've been looking for you for almost a year. I remember meeting her, but I couldn't remember her name."
Sure.
And we reconnected, and her husband, Rob, is my technology specialist, and what a godsend he's been. But we do a lot of exchange of information about what we're experiencing versus what Carol's experiencing, or what...
I was going to make a comment that we spend a lot of time trying to mask our symptoms. We go into a restaurant, we don't want people to see us shaking. We do this and that and the other. But in these support group meetings, we can be ourselves. And I walk in the room and I see people just like me. And they may have different expression of the symptoms, but they've all got it. and they're shaky when they stand up, and they may use a cane or a walker. But to be in that environment, it's automatically supportive.
What you were saying earlier, Carol, is someone with this disease, you know very intimately the symptoms and the tells to see it in other people. You can't discriminate within your own community for you to give, so if someone out there does have Parkinson's, it really does serve you to go and embrace the other people around you that you see that do have it. Just that one interaction on the baseball field was tremendous for you to be acknowledged and to have that commonality. Am I right or am I right?
You're right.
You're right on target.
Okay, just making sure.
In fact, one of the people who I know from church came up to me one day and said, "You got this, don't you?" And I went to myself, huh? It was the fact that coming back, I would put a hand on each pew as I went down to make sure I had something steady to hold on to. But it's very exhilarating to come in contact with people who have similar symptoms with the same end result or close to it, and know that you can feel comfortable talking to them in the most basic of situations. It's very rewarding to be around people like this.
There's a certain pride that you all must have in yourself, or an ownership of your disease, that allows you to be here in a public forum on community television to speak about it, and I commend you for that. We talked about all of your initial reactions. What has led you to come to this solace, this point right now, that you are able to be more vocal about your diagnosis and be seen publicly? That's open. The floor is open.
And I try and focus in our group not on things we can no longer do, but on what we are able to do now despite the disease. And do power tools, chainsaws, all of those things that were a part of my life. They're just in the past now, and I have to walk away from that. But the things I can now do because of Parkinson's, I'm singing in 2 choruses because it's good therapy. I'm taking voice lessons over the internet from a woman on Zoom. So these are people I would not have interacted with at all. So there are positives in the people I meet in our support group. I wouldn't have met any of these fine folks without this disease.
Rosemarie, I feel like that there's a lot more resource that I can pull out of you, and I can tell there's something bubbling that you'd like to chime in about.
Well, I think that, hearing everyone talk this afternoon and just thinking about, what's out there for people. Anyone who wants to connect with other people with Parkinson's, maybe a support group is for you, but maybe it's an exercise class, maybe it's a singing class, maybe it's anything like that. And always want people to reach out and try and meet other people and stay connected. Someone is listening to this and wants to maybe join a new group or learn more about something like this, they can always give our office a call. Our number is 800-651-8466. People can give us a call and we can help connect them with a great support group or a great exercise program or a great singing program or anything like that. Whatever might work for them.
Wonderful. I think we need to just put it out there one more time. When does your group usually meet in Marlborough?
In Marlborough at the Senior Center every Tuesday morning, 30 to 12:30.
And is coffee provided?
Coffee's free at the Senior Center.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. And once again, how about your group?
We meet every Friday at 11 o'clock at the Lutheran Church in Westboro. Coffee and donuts.
Oh, they've got donuts too. So I don't know.
And listeners, just so you know, you can go to both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Anyone have any closing remarks before we wrap up today?
Thank you for your help.
Thank you. It's been lovely having all of you, and thank you for sharing so openly. I really appreciate it. And that brings us to the end of another episode of Marlboro Minute. I'm Ryan Maliar. If you are a community group, or you live here in Marlboro, or have services or ideas that you think could affect the Marlboro residents right here, please reach out. I'd love to have you on the program. Take care.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you all for being here. It's a beautiful day, as Chuck mentioned. I just wanted to say thank you to Bobby Case and the Prospector for all the food. I want to thank the Senior Center and Trish for opening the doors and letting us invade her space, as well as this beautiful park, and DPW, who helped set up, and facilities. And most importantly, I want to thank all of you for coming. It's a beautiful day. I know we kind of shifted some gears and we're not on the beach today, but it was really important for me to bring things back to Ward Park. It's kind of where my stomping ground, so to speak, and good childhood memories. So now it's great to create new memories as mayor at this beautiful park. So thank you all for being a part of that. Thank you all for being here. And again, can't wait to challenge some people with cornhole and some Connect 4. So whoever's ready, game on.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. Would you mind telling us a little bit about this event going on here today?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are down here at the beautiful Ward Park for our senior barbecue. It happens annually. It used to be at the beach, but we moved it downtown so we can have access to the senior center, and it's a beautiful day in the park, so why not?
Very nice, very nice. So what are your favorite summer activities to do?
Other than this event. So the boardwalk's open up, so I plan on utilizing that and just try to get to the beach or the pool as much as possible in between the busy day of being the mayor.
That's very nice. Well, while we're at this barbecue, let me ask you, what is your favorite barbecue food or something to eat out at a cookout?
Oh, hot dogs and hamburgers all the way. Yeah, I always have to have mustard though. Yeah, it's the rule on my hot dogs. So yeah, obviously pasta salad. My mom does great macaroni salad, so I always dive in for that when she makes it. But you know, it's traditional American barbecue.
Very nice. Thank you so much for talking with us for a little bit, Mr. Mayor. Have a great barbecue.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the time.
Marlboro Farmers Market is back. Find us in downtown Marlboro every weekend from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. through October 5th. We will have farm fresh produce, specialty foods, artisans, live music, and more. Thank you to Lost Shoe Brewing and Roasting Company for making the Marlboro Farmers Market happen.
Winners of 4 straight. First place Marlboro took on 5-4 Bellingham, and the home team jumped out to an early lead in this one. Bottom 1. One out with runners in scoring position with row up, and Seamus goes the other way and sneaks it through for a base hit. Vieira scores. Romano tests the center fielder's arm and slides in safely to make it 2-0. A couple of batters later, Rowe at third with Talkoff up. Andrew strikes out, but he gets away. He heads to first. Rowe wins the race to the plate, and after one, Marlboro led 3-0. Now it's bottom 3, same score. Vieira and Romano back in scoring position. This time, Talkoff shoots it through the hole. Vieira scores easily. Romano once again tries to score from second. The throw was late, and Marlboro led this one 5-0. Bellingham would make it a 5-2 game, but the runs just kept coming. Mound Visit hoped to settle down Hughes, who was once again in trouble. Felipe Ferreira's now up, and he gets all of the Hughes fastball and crushes it deep to center. Lately scores to make it 6-2. Next up is Talkoff once again. He gets it off the end of the bat, and it just clears the first baseman. Rowe comes in to score. Talkoff drives in 4 on the evening as Marlboro wins this one 12-2-6. Their record stands at 8-1-1, and they play next at Milford.
My name is Mike Hennessy. I'm Director of Veteran Services here for the City of Marlboro. And I'd like to welcome you. It's becoming annual Medal of Liberty and Medal of Fidelity presentations. We are here to honor the families of those who died of illness and who were killed in action. And I think that makes Marlboro pretty special because we're one of the few communities that do it yearly. We had one of the biggest 2 years ago for our first outside of Boston for the Medal of Liberty. And we were one of the first cities to do the Medal of Fidelity event in the Commonwealth. And I think that's something pretty spectacular that we do. And it just shows that we here in Marlboro will never forget the sacrifices of our military. With that being said, I'd like to introduce our opening prayer, Bob Gregoire, the chaplain for the Marlboro Veterans Council.
Uncover, please. We, the veterans, have gathered here this evening to pay respects and to give comfort to the family and friends. We ask you to join with us in the spirit of fellowship and prayer. Together, let us pray the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. In verdant pastures, he gives me repose. Beside restful waters, he leads me, he refreshes my soul. He guides me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk in the dark valley, I fear no evil, for you are at my side with your rod and staff that give me courage. You spread the table before me in the light of the foes. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Only goodness and kindness follow me all the days of and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord for years to come. Amen.
Thank you, Bob. Now I invite you all to stand if you can for the Pledge of Allegiance by Richard Hamill.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd now like to introduce the Mayor of Marlborough, the Honorable Christian Dumas.
Thank you. Good afternoon. As mentioned, my name is Christian Dumas, and I'm the mayor here in Marlborough. I almost forgot my name for a second, yeah. I'd also like to recognize State Representative Danielle Gregoire, and there's two councilors in the back, Councilor Roby and Councilor Pacilio. Thank you for being here today. It is a true privilege to welcome you to Marlborough and to honor your fallen loved ones who gave their lives for our country and our freedom. Your relatives made the ultimate sacrifice, and we're forever indebted to them. These honors, the Medal of Liberty and the Medal of Fidelity, are a way for us to recognize their heroism and pay tribute to their life. As mayor, it is my commitment to always support our veterans and find opportunities to honor those country. If you weren't aware, today, June 14th, is Flag Day. I find it befitting that today, of all days, we present who died fighting behind our beautiful flag. I would like to thank and recognize Lieutenant Commander Matthew Sargent and Sandra Huey for their dedicated work researching ones and bestowing on them this well-deserved honor. I'd also like to thank Marlborough Historical Society, the VSO agent Michael Hennessy, the Library Director Sarah Belisle, Douglas Rowe, Robert Gregoire, and State Representative Danielle Gregoire for your help organizing this touching ceremony. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd now like to introduce State Representative Danielle Gregoire.
Thank you, Mike. Good evening, everyone. It's truly an honor to be with you this evening and to look out into this crowd and see so many familiar faces as we're here to celebrate the lives of these men who served their country so dutifully and who made so many sacrifices for all of the freedoms that we still maintain. I always like to point out that it's not only the service members who make those sacrifices, but also their families. So it's very important that you're all here tonight to honor that memory, and we honor you as well. I too want to thank Mike and Matt for their work, everyone at the Historical Society, and everyone who's worked so hard to put this event together. Our community has come in the last couple of years in recognizing our service members and the folks who made the ultimate sacrifice thanks to the work of Matt. And I think we're all really lucky to have him here in the community, and we're all very blessed for the work that he does. So I'm grateful to you, Matt, so thank you for that. And thank you for letting me play a small part. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Gregoire. I'd now like to introduce Lieutenant Commander Matthew Sargent from the Marlborough Historical Society.
Hello, and thank you for joining us this evening. Marlborough has always answered the nation's call from the earliest conflicts in the colonial wars until present conflicts globally. Today, we remember 11 men who made the ultimate sacrifice during World War I, World War II, and the Korean conflict. We will also recognize 3 men whose death was a direct result of their service long after the war in Vietnam had ended. I'd like to thank Sandra Huey for her tireless efforts to locate the next of kin of these heroes. I'd like to thank Mike Hennessy of the Veterans Service Office for his continued support of the Historical Society's efforts to remember Marlborough's own. And finally, thank you to our elected officials who are here tonight to remember citizens from this great city. I would also like to thank any Vietnam veteran in the room. Please stand if you served during the Vietnam War. Please hold all applause until the end. When directed, please come to the feel free to take photos. We'll use the middle aisle here, and the presentation will be in the middle. Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 33, Section 67A. There should be a Medal of Liberty which shall be awarded to the next of kin of servicemen and women from the Commonwealth, killed in action or who died in service while in a designated combat area in the line of duty or who died as a result of wounds received in action. On behalf of Governor Maura Healey, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Medal of Liberty is presented to Private Ralph Joseph Lord. Ralph was born and raised in Marlborough. He enlisted in the Army the 31st of March, 1917, and assigned to Company K of the 104th Infantry Regiment, 26th Yankee Division. He departed for Europe the 3rd of October, 1917, aboard the U.S. Army transport Ariane, fighting in the battles of Ans, Chateau-Thierry, Lorraine, Saint-Mihiel, and the Second Battle of the Marne. On the 20th of July, 1918, Ralph was killed in action near Bellewood, France. He was 20 years old. Ralph was buried in the Ans Marne American Cemetery and Memorial in Bella, France, Block A, Row 3, Grave 75. Lord Road in Marlborough is named in his honor. Accepting the medal on behalf of Ralph Joseph Lord is his nephew, Bob Lord of Westboro, Massachusetts. On behalf of Governor Maura Healey, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Medal of Liberty is presented to Private James Sturgeon Gagas. James was born in Zupino, Greece, and immigrated to the United States in 1914. While working at the Curtis Shoe Factory, he enlisted in the Army the 31st of March, 1917, and was assigned to Company G of the 104th Infantry Regiment, 26th Yankee Division. He departed for Europe aboard the U.S. Army transport Ariane the 3rd of October, 1917, fighting in the battles of Ans, Chateau-Thierry, Lorraine, Saint-Mihiel, and the Second Battle of the Marne. He was severely wounded in action in 1918. On the 15th of September, James was killed in action at Saint-Hilaire, France, against a German counterattack for which he was recommended for a divisional citation. James was 20 years old. He's buried at the Saint-Mihiel American Cemetery and Memorial in Thiacourt, Regionville, France. Gagas Lane in Marlborough is named in his honor. Accepting the medal on behalf of James Sturgeon Gagas is his cousin Michael Gagas from South Kingstown, Rhode Island. On behalf of Governor Maura Healey, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Medal of Liberty is presented to Sergeant Franklin Royal Maddox. Frank was born in Nashua, New Hampshire, but raised in Marlborough, where he worked as a letter carrier for the post office. Although married with 3 small children, he enlisted in the National Guard the 14th of November, 1916, and served in Company F of the 6th Massachusetts Infantry. Mobilized for federal service, he was assigned to Company B of the 104th Infantry Regiment, 26th Yankee Division. He departed for Europe the 5th of October, 1917, aboard the U.S. Army transport Scodian. Participating in numerous actions, including the Second Battle of the Marne, Frank was killed in action on the 11th of July, 1918, during the Battle of Bellewood, France. He was 24 years old. He's buried at Rocklawn Cemetery in Marlborough, Massachusetts. Maddox Road is named in his honor. Accepting the medal on behalf of Sergeant Franklin Royal Maddox is his grandson, Peter Maddox of Marlborough, Massachusetts. On behalf of Governor Maura Healey, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Medal of Liberty is presented to Water Tender 3rd Class Fred Wesley Wyman. Fred was born and raised in Goffstown, New York, to work and live with his sister and grandparents. He enlisted into the Coast Guard the 9th of May, 1917, and was assigned to the U.S. Coast Guard Cutter Gresham as a Water Tender 3rd Class. He was transferred to the U.S. Coast Guard Cutter Tampa the 23rd of September, 1917. While on patrol in the Bristol Channel, the Tampa was torpedoed by German U-boat UB-91 and sunk with a loss of all hands. He was 23 years old. Accepting the medal on behalf of Water Tender 3rd Class Fred Wesley Wyman is his grandnephew Douglas Wyman of Concord, New Hampshire.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of Governor Maura Healey, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Medal of Liberty is presented to Private Nicholas Marco Zompetti. Nicholas was born in Marlborough and raised at 52 Harrison Place. He enlisted in the Army Air Corps the 30th of April, 1941, and was assigned to the 339th Bombardment Squadron, 96th Bombardment Group, as an assistant radio operator. On the 2nd of December, 1942, the B-17 that Nicholas was a crew member of crashed near Soda Springs, Idaho, killing all aboard. He was 20 years old. Nicholas is buried at the Immaculate Conception Cemetery in Marlborough. Zompetti Street in Marlborough is named in his honor. Accepting the medal on behalf of Private Nicholas Marco Zompetti is his niece, Laura Lichtenberger of Sacramento, California. On behalf of Governor Maura Healey, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Medal of Liberty is presented to Private Kenneth Edward Miller. Kenneth was born and raised in Medford, Massachusetts, and enlisted in the Army the 14th of September, 1943. He was assigned to Company C of the 743rd Tank Battalion as a driver of an M4 Sherman tank. Kenneth arrived to his new unit after they had landed on Omaha Beach on D-Day. On the 18th of October, 1944, the tank Ken was driving was hit by enemy fire, killing him and his assistant driver. His remains were not recovered, and he is still officially listed as missing in action. He was 19 years old.